Good evening all, and welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. It's Friday night, which means it's alcohol-free beer night, and the beer we're going for is from Tempest Brewing Co. It's this one. It is Sleight of Hand. And Sleight of Hand, it's an alcohol-free spiced milk stout weighing in at 0.5% ABV. And it says on the back of the can, as any practitioner of the dark arts knows, creating magic is not about doing the impossible, but doing what seems impossible. Conjuring up a rich, indulgent milk stout without alcohol requires a sort of dark artistry that cannot be disclosed outside of the inner circle. The trick, however, is balancing out the chocolatey malt with the creamy chai. Everything else is just sleight of hand. And it goes on to tell you some of the ingredients obviously are malted barley, wheat oats, lactose, vanilla, and then you get the spices, which are cardamom, fennel, cinnamon, ginger, and black pepper. So, a few things there that I've never had in beer before. I've certainly never had, knowingly, cardamom and fennel. Cinnamon and ginger, maybe. Yes, in fact, I know I have. Black pepper, potentially. Who knows? Anyway, it promises much, conjuring up a rich, indulgent milk stout without alcohol. We shall see how it goes. Anyway, I do enjoy the simplicity of the artwork on here. You've got some very... It reminds me of some of the early Black Sabbath videos, and the fact that we're talking about dark artistry. Look at that. It just reminds me of the old Black Sabbath stuff. But yeah, let's get it out into a glass and see what we think. So I had bought this from the Wise Bartender as part of the Christmas pack, but we are in the end 3rd of January. So it's been a bit late coming to fruition. Anyway, the pour is into my AF Beer Club glass. Dark. It's pouring with some conviction, which is always nice. We've got a nice head on that. We've got a very nice head on that. Look at that. You've got a nice dark stout. That is as dark as it gets, with a solid finger and a bit of like taupe coloured head. Look at that. That's lovely. It looks just like a stout should. Dark, rich, and indulgent. There's just a little bit of mahogany coming through the bottom of the glass, nothing major, but otherwise it looks bang on. Let's have a whiff, see if we can get some of those spices. I'm getting things, and it's not huge, it's light on the nose. I'm getting the roasted malt. I'm getting chocolate. Hints of spice, but it's kind of nondescript. There is a generic spiced thing going on. I can't distinguish the individual things that have been listed. Fennel is such a strong aroma, as is the flavour, and it's lovely with pork, but that's another story. Ginger and cardamom, again, I would expect to be quite huge. So they've played it subtle on the nose. Let's see if it tastes anything as good as the profile sounds. Cheers. I'm going to start with the body. It is silky smooth, light to medium, and all the alcohol-free stouts I've had to date, bar one, have been very thin. This is more on the light to medium side. It's sweet. The cinnamon comes through as the sweetness. The vanilla is there. It's nice and creamy. I'm not getting much else, I will be honest. There are elements of greatness here, but I'm not getting much of the spice. As a slightly sweetened milk stout goes, it's particularly alcohol-free, it's nice. It really is. There is a nice roasted malt. It's light, and again, as I say, the chocolate is there, the vanilla is there. There is a little warmth, and that's probably the black pepper. But I'm not getting the aniseed that I would expect from the fennel. Ginger and cardamom, again, should be pretty dominant. The cinnamon is just a hint thereof. And now I'm going to be honest with you. I bought this one as part of the pack. It was the one I was least looking forward to because for me, those kind of flavours don't necessarily belong in beer. And the fact they're not huge, for me, is a good thing. So I'm pleased. You know, it's very, very pleasant what I'm drinking. But it's not huge on the spice, which for me, like I say, is a win. So, Tempest, Sleight of Hand. We're almost at the end of the video. Well, I'll say almost at the end of the review section. The finish, it's sweet. I forgot to tell you about the finish. It's sweet, it's lightly malted, and it makes you want to go in for another sip. It's as simple as that. Maybe that's where I was expecting more of the flavour to come from, but that's where I'm getting that little bit of warmth from the black pepper. There we go. So yeah, great artwork. What do I think of the beer? Well, before I tell you exactly what I think of the beer summed up, we're going to go to the scoreboard of joy, which says that Tempest Sleight of Hand has had 35 check-ins and a fairly decent score of 3.50. And I say fairly decent score because alcohol-free stouts tend to feature lower on the threshold of scoring that I find anyway. My scoreboard of joy is currently void of any points. Let's give it some. Let's fill it in. Appearance-wise, you know, the stout itself is a lovely dark colour. It's rich looking. And the head, as it was when it was poured, was sumptuous. It looked very inviting. It made me want to sip it very, very quickly. It was a great looking beer, and it remains to be. So I'm going to give it the full point. The aroma is light. It is very light. I get a little bit of the chocolate. I get a little bit of the malt. I get a hint of the cinnamon on the nose. That's pretty much it. It is perhaps wanting more. You know, on the nose, I would have expected the ginger and the fennel just to push through with the cardamom sitting behind it because they're very distinctive aromas and flavours. They are not overly present. You know, I'm pleased for that. I just wish it was stronger. It's light, so I'm going to give it the 0.5 on the nose. The body is, for an alcohol-free stout, very good. It's not as good as, say, the Guinness alcohol-free, which does have the nitro on its side, I must admit. But it's decent. I'm going to give it the 0.75. It's got a nice silky smooth mouthfeel. There's very little to dislike. Like I say, it could just be heavier to really emphasise the stout nature of it. The taste is decent. I thoroughly enjoyed the flavour. However, it didn't deliver on the big spices. And now, I've read a few reviews and people have said they get it. Maybe mine was from a different batch. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed what I had, and you know, I love the chocolate. I love the creaminess from the vanilla. The little tiny hint of cinnamon and the warmth of the pepper on the back end. Really enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, if I had too much of that spice, it perhaps would have killed it for me. I'm going to give it the 0.75. It just needed a bit more oomph, perhaps, from the roasted malt to give it a bigger score. And the finish, it is sweet. It is very, very sweet. You get a little hint of the malts. You get sweetness. You get the vanilla. You get a little bit of the warmth from the black pepper. Again, it's very good. Could just do with more malt just to boost it and really give it oomph. So I'm going to give it the 0.75 again. So we have 1.5 to 3.75 out of 5 on my Untapped scoreboard of joy, which, you know, given that I was expecting not to like this one, it's a pleasant turn up for the books. So there we go. If you like a decent milk stout and you can get your hands on it still and you want something that's just a little bit different, not massively so, then you could do with trying the old Tempest Sleight of Hand. And speaking of which, that has been the beer. I've been Nick. Those down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do with them by now. You've got the like, comment, dislike and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And I will see you again soon for another video. Bye.